It was like, when I was walking from Dollar, I heard 4 shots. And I ran back home because I didn't know what was going on. And I just saw somebody dead on the corner of my house. And I just saw everybody crying, and I just ran in the house and went in my room and locked the door. Just started watching TV so that get out my mind, get out of my mind.
Across Chicago.
The city of Chicago.
We're going to take you now to Chicago.
Murders at
Rival gangs.
The city is coping with a street culture.
In the city where gangs are powerful,
Gangs are fighting
down
a war
in a weekend of violence, drugs,
and money.
Growing up thinking if I'm mad at you, I'm going to grab my gun.
Where being a narcotics dealer is the aspiring profession.
guns, hunting.
The Windy City, the second city, the city of big shoulders, Chi-Town, the Chi.
I'm to Chicago in the north.
The place where the Cabrini Green projects once stood in the shadows of the Sears Tower, where Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls ruled the 90s and had kids like Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose believing they could fly. The city where Common and Kanye West battled on college radio, where Twista made the Guinness Book of World Records for rapping fast as the Cavaliers, and Monte Carlos float down Lakeshore Drive. Chicago is the place young Jennifer Hudson sang her first notes, where Lupe Fiasco said his first Salah, and yes, where a young Barack Obama married a pretty brown-skinned girl from the South Side and got his start as a community organizer. Where the colors you wear can get you jammed up in a heartbeat, and the stories you hear on the news each day will make you want to holler. And where the city still shines bright despite all the pain, all the tragedy, and all the loss. There is no place in the world like Chicago, and perhaps that's why so many people struggle to understand it. The focus on shootings in Chicago and the gang culture tied to many of them would have one believe that the Windy City is the murder capital of the United States. But that isn't true. The city reached its all-time high rate of murders in 1974, when 970 people were victims of homicide, compared with the 415 last year. The violence that plagues Chicago is caused by many factors: bad schools, broken families, poverty, isolation, lack of opportunity. And though homicide rates may have taken a turn for the better, it would be wrong to dismiss the youth crisis taking place on this city's streets.
In too many neighborhoods today, whether here in Chicago or the farthest reaches of rural America, it can feel like, for a lot of young people, the future only extends to the next street corner or the outskirts of town, that no matter how much you work or how hard you try, your destiny was determined the moment you were born.
The system is just messed up. There's not too many options.
I can promise you that I'm gonna go stick somebody up and you'll give me your gun for free and I'll come back and pay you later. That's how Chicago is now.
I've been seeing some of everything, man.
I look at it like being a product of your environment.
I seen people get killed, seen dead bodies in front of my house.
If you stop the crime, you stop the money.
It's too easy to get guns. They everywhere.
People, the first thing they think about when they think about our city is something negative.
And give it this negative connotation, but they kind of don't really see all the beautiful things that come about.
Everybody think you come to Chicago, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get killed, you're going to get shot.
Overall, you know, the communities have been abandoned, neglected, and you're told in so many ways that you're throwaways, that the community's a throwaway.
They say Chicago is the most violent city there is, but I kind of believe that.
There were 2,185 shooting victims in Chicago in 2013.
The best thing about Chicago is its people. The people of Chicago have a certain kind of resilience, and so there's an authenticity.
There was a 29% decrease in murders from 2003 to 2013. However, the climate of tragedy and despair in the city's hardest hit neighborhoods is still very real and very deadly.
Sometimes, man, the neighborhoods that we live in be the worst places for us to have to come in and out of.
You grow up a little faster than everybody else, man.
And I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? The community is lost.
Man, some people get locked up in this world, man. You know, the little four block radius that they live in, man, some people, this is all they know. These children don't have nowhere to go. Some of them don't know 2 blocks away or 2 blocks over.
This is all they see. They big brothers sell drugs, they uncles killing people, you know, robbing people, things like this. So this is the life for them. This is the world for them in their mind. They don't even understand that the world is even bigger than this, that they can even make a bigger world and a better world for themselves.
Everybody's their own person. Everybody is a different human being. Everybody rotate different. Everybody do their own thing different.
They tell basically the young brothers in my community, your future is going to county. County hospital, county jail, or county morgue. And so after you've been told for so long time that nobody gives a damn about you, you look around your community, it tells you every day nobody gives a damn about you, so you don't give a damn about yourself.
Nobody wants to be on a one-track mind, you know, and it's messed up, but in Chicago, the one-track mind is that, you know, I'm going to get mines and I ain't going to worry about you getting yours because that ain't really none of my business.
It's basically like a Chicago thing, like everybody can't get along.
It's the poverty.
Right now, there's nothing really to hope for or look forward to.
People don't got jobs, people don't got money. So they're going to do what they got to do to hustle, they're going to do what they got to do to get it. And when people don't got nothing to live for, they'll do whatever they got to do to make sure they survive, you know, whether it's taking you out, whether it's taking from you, whether it's taking anything, you know, they'll do that.
This hood getting this much money, so they finna go through here and stun on them. Now they mad and want to go shoot at them because they over here hating on them because they ain't got the amount of bread that they got. It's just a whole lot of haters in Chicago.
I mean, just jealousy, egos, drugs, liquor.
People don't like fighting no more for some reason, so everybody go get their gun.
And substance plays a role as well. You have some individuals, they pop pills or whatever their drug of choice is, and then they go out and do something that they wouldn't do otherwise.
Also OTV, house the drugs, house the zaddies. You know.
Some people might get into it off for other reasons, but you know, but you would never know. Only that person and that person would know.
You gotta know Chicago to move around Chicago because you'll get jammed up in a situation. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, people say it like you can't be caught lacking.
An aspiring rapper known as King Gunna was the 26th victim to die by homicide in 2014.
My son was in the house and his friend came over on the bus and asked him to walk to the store with him. And he came back saying that my son got shot. Other than that, we don't know nothing. I just know my son was a really good kid with no criminal background, any of that. He left here with a 3-month-old baby, leaving behind, and this boy said that he's seen nothing. I don't believe that anyone that was over the age of 21 did this to my son. And I want whoever did this to him to be, you know, caught and justice to be served, because I really don't believe that he's able to rest until that happens. It's very hard for me, like, everything is just coming down. It's just, like, I'm just here. I'm not living, I'm just here. And I'm trying to maintain. I have a daughter, a 17-year-old, that I have to make sure she has a roof over her head and everything. And everything is just, like, seems like it's just devouring all around me just because some person took my son's life.
Gang-related, mistaken identity, caught lacking, nothing can bring back a loved one. Few witness this reality as frequently as Chicago paramedics.
You live a particular type of life, it's only certain type of outcomes that you want to get out of. This is a dead end, man. It's no way around it. Sometimes I think the youth think that, you know, like they're going to get a second chance. It's real and that they don't come back. I mean, I work at the county. we might get 10 gunshots in one night. You seeing young kids coming there 15, 16, and you know, the first thing you think about is, man, they haven't even lived life yet.
In Chicago, it's a city of neighborhoods, and the gangs have carved up the city into turf.
The street shit has been going on for years and years, like different hoods.
I would like to say it's a melting pot, but it's not. Everybody lives in their own little village, kind of.
Just this year, 330 homicides, 1,379 shootings, just January through October. If there's a conflict, the first resort is to respond with violence. That's the norm, and that's what's happening in each community, Black, Latino, across the board.
The borders have been drawn, the stakes are high, and the players have few rules. Age is not a restriction. The average Chicago gang member is 16. A 2012 Chicago Police Department gang audit listed more than 600 gang factions in the city, with upwards of 70,000 people to be considered gang members.
I can tell you the original things because I'm one of the original guys.
From Al Capone to Larry Hoover, Chicago's underworld culture has an infamous hold on the city. Now more than ever, gang and civilian worlds collide.
Before things got to where they are now, crime was more localized in one particular area, the projects, basically.
I just was a demon in the streets. Can 44 pistols, 12-inch long. When I go through a block, the block shake.
Since the projects and lower economical homes have been taken away, it's everywhere now. It's not just isolated to one particular area, and it affects way more people than it did before.
In the 90s, when they dismantled the structures and they locked up all the heads, they figured that, yo, we're going to lock up all the chiefs of the street organizations, and therefore, this is what's going to put an end to it. No, we made it chaotic.
Truth be told, this has been a violent-ass city for a very long time.
By locking up Jeff Ford, Larry Hoover, these are people that keep our neighborhoods and our cultures, you know what I'm saying, intact.
You dismantle the self-governing bodies of the neighborhoods, of the communities.
It was organized when we was growing up. Old street life was more organized.
They had governing back then. There was some G's who, if they said this can't happen that way, it didn't happen that way. These kids are going, who cares about the OGs? They have no governing. So if you don't have any governing, it's just going to be wilder and wilder and wilder.
You know, the Wild West. It's, you know, whoever shoots first is the guy, you know, but, you know, that's not how it was when we grew up.
Just don't have as much organization, like it's split up in more like groups.
So now the neighborhoods and organizations are running wild.
There's no more chiefs, there's no more gang leaders, there's nobody out there telling the youth what to do, instilling rules and ethics and things of that sort. It doesn't exist anymore.
At the end of the day, it's all the economic concern. So they all want money, and they're all clicking together, you know what I mean, these fractions of these gangs together so they can get money together.
You're looking at somebody who has nothing, and they're thinking they're nothing, and they can't be anything unless they get money.
There's 6% of certain violence-ridden areas that are accountable for 70% of the homicides, typically related to gang violence, but also just really random acts of senseless violence. Oftentimes done by even kids who have really no regulation over what they're doing, usually a retaliation type of crime.
That's the Chicago mentality. You got that in you. They kill somebody you love, you got to go kill one of them, and then they going to come back and do them, and then that shit ain't going to end. It's kind of stupid now that I think about it, but that's how we think, man. Somebody kill your best friend or your brother, you can live with that.
This wall right here from 1971 or 70 was most of the people out here in this project where you standing right now was so much killing and shooting going on at the time back then. And it was just like the black movement was there, so they was trying to stop the black power, the Black Panthers, everybody together. You know, it's a wall they call of honor, you know what I mean? But it was senseless killings and murders out here. So that wall there, the people that got killed, they put their name on there, and as you got the saying, there go another black brother that got killed, you know what I mean, with a bullet back and forth. So this really is a wall of honor.
I mean, it was shootings back when I was growing up, but it wasn't like as often. It wasn't as many people just getting shot, random people getting shot that weren't even part of the conflict.
The gun violence epidemic has actually went all over Chicago.
Not to say that when we was coming up, you know, it wasn't murders and things of that nature, but nowadays things are just reckless.
Meatball.
I ain't trying to say you're not going to shoot it, but you got bad luck with this shit. Oh, hang out the window.
Come back, motherfucker!
Bust that nigga ass, he's fucked up in the eye.
Shooting from a car. You're a coward. They ain't hit nobody, they shooting that shit. We used to put our heels on and a wig and walk up and kiss you. So you already know you was done. But I didn't hit nobody else.
Potential for violence everywhere. Any corner you turn in Chicago, it ain't no safe side, ain't no safety zone, none of that. It's just all violence everywhere.
You know, statistically, crime is down. Innocent kids being killed is up. Innocent people being killed is up.
Hey, I just heard shots fired, 44th and Oakenwall. He was just shooting in the alley over here.
Okay, north side of Oakenwall.
The 2013 murder of Hydea Pendleton made national headlines because the 15-year-old had recently returned from performing at President Obama's inauguration. She was one of the 415 Chicagoans to die by homicide last year.
Our other developing story tonight, the spread of gun violence continues in Chicago. The latest victim is a 15-year-old girl, a high school honor student. She was shot this afternoon at 42nd and Oakenwald. That's in the Kenwood neighborhood. And has our report live from Comer Children's Hospital.
They tell me that their 15-year-old daughter was a special kid. She was excited about having attended the presidential inauguration in Washington, D.C. just a couple of weeks ago. And she was looking forward to spending part of the summer in Paris as part of a student exchange program. But instead of finalizing those plans, they're now making funeral arrangements. Hydea Pendleton was killed this afternoon, gunned down in a park near her high school on Chicago's South Side.
She was having finals. They got out early, so they decided to go over to Harsh Park. And they was under the canopy at the park, and a guy jumped over the fence and thought, well, he said that he thought that they were somebody else, a rival gang or whatever, and started shooting into the crowd.
Which is interesting because she got shot in the back while running down the street,
right.
So I'm not really sure
so
how that went.
He was shooting at people that was running away from him. So, and it was majority girls. It's what, two guys, and they don't have anything to do with gangs either. So,
unfortunately, what happened to Hydea is not unique. It's not unique to Chicago. It's not unique to this country. Too many of our children are being taken away from us.
Two men are due up any moment now. One of them has previous gun charges and was out on probation prior to his arrest. Police say he confessed to the shooting. Police say that 18-year-old Michael Ward was the shooter and thought he was aiming at rival gang members. 20-year-old Kenneth Williams allegedly drove the car and on arrest tried to escape. Police say that the two were getting revenge for a previous shooting on Williams.
Used to be that if you were affiliated or if you were with a certain area, you would be affected by this crime. Now you can be on the bus, you can be on the L, you can be up north, you can be downtown. I mean, it's widespread.
It's like people selling drugs. There's a lot of shooting around here, but it's still like a good neighborhood. Kids still come outside.
My grandmother got killed, and like a few years back, 2005, she was shot because two people from over here were shooting at each other, and she got caught in the crossfire, and she was killed. I had just got out of school, and I came home, seen the ambulance. Everybody was crying. I had asked my mama, like, what's wrong? Everybody crying. At first, they wouldn't tell me, and they had told me she got killed, and just went from there.
You'll hear about something in South Shore. Sauganash, that's your child too.
That's right.
You hear something in Englewood, Edgewater, that's a child of the city of Chicago.
That's right. That's right.
If you hear something in Woodlawn, Wildwood, that's also our future.
That's right.
And until we feel that way as a city, we will not be the city we can be.
As the nation wonders what's wrong with Chicago, and pundits use the city's so-called black-on-black violence as an excuse to derail conversations about police brutality, many of the city's residents struggle with the day-to-day reality of struggling schools, unemployment, aggressive police, and a crushing sense of despair. There seems to be an endless budget for policing and incarceration. But what about the needed resources to keep people out of jail? The resources to help Chicagoans build productive lives? Has the violence become an excuse for denying critical services to the city's residents? When you add it all up, everything looks to be against the people of this city. What is happening in Chicago?
The effect that we see in the communities comes out of causes that have not been addressed and causes that continue.
What you see right now in Chicago is a manifestation of decades of divestment from our communities.
I've been at the same church I'm at now for 39 years. For 39 years I've looked at poor schools, high unemployment, no housing, boarded up buildings, foreclosure, people coming back from prison with no alternatives for anything to go to, lack of community empowerment, lack of economic development.
What we see here is not the result of black pathology, is not the result of black people not caring about the city or not being able to take care of the communities they live in. It's a result of a long-term divestment in the care and concern for the value of the lives of people in the city of Chicago.
You come over here now, see a liquor store and the churches, okay? Look at that abandoned building there. Look at this, all this church. There's two churches just saw abandoned building, right? Liquor store, abandoned building, church, liquor store. You know what I mean? Liquor store. You know what I mean? You got 5 liquor stores on what's the name? On one block.
Our community is not funded like other communities. You don't see banks investing in this community. The banks that have come in, they're very similar to the currency exchanges. Now they got hip to all the currency exchanges that were surviving, so now they cash checks too. But they're not investing in this community. I can't go to the bank after being in business for 10 years and say, hey, I'd like a line of credit. They talk about that stuff, but they're not really about it. They're about removing the money like everyone else.
That's another church. And we just saw 5 churches, and we ain't went 2 blocks yet. And there's another liquor store right there. That's 5 liquor stores, 5 churches, okay? Show you how crazy.
If you don't have a strategy, it is very easy for a community to turn into only currency exchanges and only liquor stores.
Now, up here at the gas station, another liquor store. 20 years, we ain't had one grocery store. We don't got no trauma. That's how a lot of these black kids die too, G.
A trauma desert is anytime you have a particular area that does not have a level 1 trauma center. Unfortunately, on the south side of Chicago, in the southeast area, the closest level 1 trauma center happens to be Christ Hospital, which is a town over, Oakland, Illinois.
We see these signs every day in Chicago that say, building a new Chicago. I oftentimes question if that new Chicago includes me, and if it includes the people in the communities that I grew up with.
Not too many black people themselves have put that money and attention back into their own neighborhoods, you know, starting their own businesses and taking their neighborhoods back.
This misperception about the fact that we don't know how to take care of our communities, we don't know how to not be violent, that we are inherently, there's an inherent pathology to us in this city is dangerous. It allows elected officials, it allows business leaders, it allows community leaders to say, these people don't know what to do, so let's figure out how we can get folks who know what to do to actually take over. And so I think it's about furthering a narrative that says that certain people, and particularly black people in the city of Chicago, are dangerous.
There's a real problem in Chicago, and we felt to get behind it, we had to really get with people who are working in the community, people who are working to solve the problem, people who care about the people that are there. So we had a round table to put a number of folks together, to not just talk about it, but hear what they found out, hear what they know, hear what they believe will work to help solve what is going on in Chicago.
The gang culture in Chicago has been around since the 70s. It's learned behavior. A lot of these guys are not even structured gangs anymore. The violence is all over the place. You can get killed for looking at somebody the wrong way, looking at his girlfriend, and I just don't like you. I mean, it's all over the place, all right? Home invasion, you name it.
Until we deal with those foundational issues of poor schools, no jobs, people incarceration coming out with no alternatives, and no economic development, and you can't tell somebody they have hope in the neighborhood looks like a third world country.
We need programs in the penitentiaries and the jails, so when young men are released, they can be attached to some type of healing process, so they come back on the streets of Chicago.
What's the plan beyond locking them up to help them to get back in their mainstream, to get back in their life?
Is the rise of the for-profit prison system that's going on right now. How you can go buy stocks in the CCA right now. The thing is, right now, there are more African Americans in captivity right now than there was during the final years of slavery. Yes. And the reason being is, you can go online right now and buy stocks in the prison system. The stocks rise based upon population.
Corrections Corporation of America.
Yes, sir.
Chicago's Cook County Jail is the largest single-site jail in the country.
The name of the game is money.
This violence has been around so long now that it's a business.
See, crime pays.
And a lot of people are making money on this violence.
$3 billion from Chicago to Mexico a year. And ain't nobody know nothing about it. Can't nobody stop it. When Bobby and JoJo back and forth sell a nickel bag on the corner and you bust them.
Every single year, the Chicago Police Department spends $80 million on minor marijuana possession arrests. We're spending $80 million on these kinds of minor petty arrests instead of spending $80 million on public schools, on job creation, and also on quality social services.
It's designed for it to happen this way, and that's why it's happening this way.
It feels like we've been isolated from our own country.
They want to know where the guns come from. They know where they come from. We don't make them. So you know who delivers.
You're taking the prisons down, make them for-profit prisons. Who's one of the biggest investors in the prisons? The gun manufacturers. So they can throw this out in the street, they can make money in prison.
In our laws and policies, they taught us to aid and assist our brothers and sisters of the struggle in their righteous endeavors, not to look at each other as opposition.
It's not a place to live anymore. People seeing no hope, and when they don't see no hope in anything, they start to lose the value on their own lives, so they'll do anything for anything.
We sitting up here calling each other ops, just saying fuck the other side, but they saying fuck all of us.
In 2012, Chicago moved to close half of the 12 mental health clinics in the city, most of which served low-income patients.
I want people to remember, I take the issue of providing benefits and care to those who need mental health benefits seriously. We're not pulling back from service. In fact, we're giving more service to more people.
There are some serious health issues, mental health issues going on today with these teenagers.
People's minds just don't click right, you know what I'm saying?
Also sort of a cultural norm. We're looking at kids who are born native to this stuff, growing up and listening and seeing and hearing gunshots in their backyard. It becomes such a norm that in some ways it's almost expected, as opposed to how do we prevent that.
Kids are immune now to the sound of gunfire. This is our home. These streets don't belong to the gangbangers. They're our streets for our children.
Since 2014 has came in alone, there's kids from age 0 to 20 who have been killed by other kids.
When a child opens fire on another child, there's a hole in that child's heart that government can't fill. Only community and parents and teachers and clergy can fill that hole.
When a child kills another child, that's not only a crime, but that's also a mental health issue.
it is a critical problem. The mental health issue is a problem.
And this escalation shows you that the children have not had an adequate education and cannot de-escalate interactions and conflicts that they have.
When you have people that cannot understand conflict resolution, then when somebody says, you know, your mom's head is too big,
right,
and they come back and say, well, your dad's head is too big,
right,
and then they come back and they can't think of something.
Yeah.
The next thing is to,
well, I mean, Jamal,
the young people we deal with, they don't have parents. So we talk about it's the parents' responsibilities. We deal with young people that are in living situations. They don't have parents, or they don't have parents that are around. So what we provide are services for young people after school. So, you know, if a child's going to school from 8 to 3, well, what are they going to be doing from 5 to 11? What I don't think that we should do is simplify our issues when really it's a holistic issue of family, right?
If you think something wrong with the children, follow them home and see who opened the door. We don't have a youth problem, sir. We have an adult problem.
Little ghetto boy playing in the ghetto street.
The family structure is gone. That's gone. That's totally gone.
Everybody ain't raised the same, and some people just get it some other way.
Right now, it's like it's cool to go to jail. It's cool not to graduate from high school. It's cool to be uneducated. I've never seen an epidemic like this.
From 1980 to 93, when they dumped all the cocaine and the drugs into our community, okay, them people had babies, them crack babies. Now them kids, 20 years later, is 34 years old right now. They kids are the ones who's causing all the confusion, who doing all type of things they got going on.
Whenever you have a person that's 13 and 14 and 15 years old that are having children, you gotta think about it. That's a child having a child. And then we expect that child to raise a child with the qualities that a responsible, independent adult needs to have. And they don't even have the tools to give the child.
They trying to be their friend, not their parent. There's a difference in being parenting and friendship. Friend, if you go to school and I can help you with some classes or some work. Parenting is showing you skills, life skills, survival.
When you live in the life and mom's kind of kicking it and dad might not be around, that lack of guidance will directly get you in a situation like we see a lot of our kids in. So unfortunately, you almost look at a situation like the kid really doesn't have a chance from the start just because he doesn't have the essential tools.
While you're fighting all this fundamental issue, you know, you still got to care for all the young brothers I'm caring for who have no place to stay at night. The guy I'm taking Monday night to go get clothes to do an interview because he has nothing to wear to interview. The 1,000 young people we got working this summer who don't even have bus fare to get to the jobs we sent them to. You know, who don't have food to eat, who are sleeping on somebody's couch for a minute.
There's no sure path to success in the middle class than a good education. And what we now know is that that has to begin in the earliest years. Study after study shows that the earlier a child starts learning, the more likely they are to succeed. The more likely they are to do well at Hyde Park Academy. The more likely they are to graduate. The more likely they are to get a good job. The more likely they are to form stable families and then be able to raise children themselves who get off to a good start.
Chicago's public schools are in a serious state of crisis. Last May, the Board of Education voted to close 50 schools for space reasons.
Just last year, over 50 schools were closed. Oftentimes, the young people who attend our schools are not expected to be great, although they can be great.
Most of these schools were located on the south and west sides and served predominantly black neighborhoods.
It was endorsed by the mayor, it was endorsed by many leaders in the city of Chicago. And what that said to young people, particularly young black people, was that the city did not have a vested interest in their future.
An estimated 46,000 students are said to be impacted by the school closings, which is but one of the challenges facing students.
We have to invest in our public schools. There's no other way around it.
Schools are a barometer of the quality of life in the community. If you have good schools, you have high quality of life. If you have bad schools, you have low quality of life. If you have no schools, what do you have?
Chicago, over the last decade, has been expelling 11 to 13 African American male boys per 100. So we've been a part of a massive education experiment that has failed.
If you look at Chicago in the last 3 years, 5,000 teachers have been fired. The biggest school shutdown in American history happened on the south and west sides of Chicago that affected all black communities.
They said there was $1 billion deficit in our schools, so they wanted to save $42, $43 million to close 50 schools over here, disrupt the lives of 34,000 students. This is the most segregated city in America right now. That level of social isolation creates deprivation in culture and everything else. These children are isolated through means of transportation, housing, education.
Any kid who's going to school on the south side of Chicago should have the same access to resources as a kid who's going to school in Naperville or going to school in Evanston. We have some of the highest taxes in the country, and those taxes are supposed to fund public schools. But it's very, very clear that schools on the south side and schools on the north side, and even when we look at our suburbs in Cook County, they're resourced very differently. And so what does that say to a young person when they know that every student in a school at New Trier can have access to brand new computers and the top of the line books while they're struggling at their school on the south side to just have air conditioning?
They've cut out this great thing for teaching young black children students how to be electricians. So they're cutting it out. It's the last program like that in the city of Chicago. Electricians make a lot of money.
We very seldom hear about the fact that the curriculums of what is being taught from babyhood all through colleges need tremendous revision. We know that there was a time when home economics was taught. You got reams of kids that don't know how to cook, don't know how to make a budget, don't know nothing about money because it's deliberately taken out of the curriculum of our school system. We could teach self-employment, for example. We don't have to wait for them to bring jobs to us. We could get our own jobs with our creativity. Am I right?
One of the things that we talk about in the schools is providing an education where kids start getting into their interests a little bit earlier, start thinking about how to improve a kid's life at a younger age, and start normalizing ways to think of alternative ways to deal with violence. Education is certainly the area that I think we can do the most improvement in trying to prevent acts of violence. Positive projects, positive ways to keep kids off the street.
Public schools have to be prioritized as something that is valuable, something that is good, and something that is well-resourced.
My school is a great school. It's an exceptional school. We have everything that CPS says it wants us to have. We have computer lab, we have an award-winning garden, we have several science labs, we have SEL, we have air conditioning throughout the whole building. So I do not understand why they're trying to close some schools that has everything that says that they want all schools to have. You should be investing in these schools, not closing them. You should be supporting these schools, not closing them. So if you send us behind a gang territory where the kids don't like us, what do you think is going to be? Violence or safety? They're saying you're trying to create safety for the kids, but you're just sending them in danger.
You gotta make it back from school to your house and your neighborhood. You can't be catching the bus. If you from my neighborhood, we in a lot of serious beef, man. It's that crazy out here.
Certain neighborhoods into it with certain neighborhoods, certain schools into it with certain schools. So when they put them together, it's like they bumping each other head.
If you close the school down in this particular area and people are forced to actually cross through rival territories, obviously there's going to be some tensions. If there's violent incidents occurring outside of the schools, then they make their way into the schools. And those students, they're definitely going to have this on their mind.
Either I'm going to go to school or to help my family. I mean, go to school or help my family sell drugs, to do something I need to do, because it's a pattern. They never should be faced with that type of choices. School should be automatic for them.
You can't get no money in school. You can't get no money in school, so you get a little taste of that, you know, the little hustling money. It's gonna make you want to stop going to school.
As of last year, Chicago has a 69% five-year graduation rate for high schoolers.
They go to school, G, this is real talk, for 3 meals. Some of the kids go to summer school for 3 meals. Because the regular school, they hate it when the summer come out because they ain't gonna be able to eat no more. During the winter months, they love school because that's how they eat. They get their breakfast, that's their meal. You know what I'm saying? They don't eat no more once they leave school. They don't eat no more.
What we're also seeing is widespread unemployment and also a drain from social services.
22,000 kids in the city of Chicago are going to have a summer job. 45,000 applied. Where do the other kids go? Where's the federal government with the resources on the summer jobs? Where are they on the after-school programs?
We did have 125 jobs this summer. Over 5,000 kids applied. So what do you do in that instance? You have to set up a lottery.
So wait,
you know,
we have a 92% unemployment rate amongst African-American youth between ages of 16 and 19 right in Chicago here today. Those numbers need to really be put out there in a major way because the reality of it is the idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Where do you think the 92 is?
Because adults are in the positions that were relegated to teenagers at one time. So when you go into McDonald's, you see grown people feeding families with a minimum wage job. So now where do young people fall in? What's their skill set and where do they fall in that economic makeup?
No,
so
also,
it's much, much harder for a teenager to get a job. Right?
But the structural inequalities is the cause of it all. So, you know, why do you have 40-year-olds working in McDonald's? By the time you're in 3rd grade, school has failed you, right? You don't have the social emotional skill sets to be able to manage an emotional environment that you're in every day. So now you're on a path to do whatever you can to make it happen right now. They can't take care of themselves, and if our community doesn't have that net that we speak of, you know, so frequently that can help them sustain and make it through, which is not because of all of the structural issues we've talked about, it's like they don't have a chance.
You have kids that have been suspended from school since they were 6 and 7. Well, we don't have the recruiting officers and things to come back and look at these kids and do home visits and follow up where these kids are. They are homeless, and when they stay with their best friend, they tell them, if you don't bring some money in this week, I can't let you stay here. So what they gonna go out and do? They don't have a chance, and they don't have no guidance, and they don't know where to get any help at.
With broken families, incarcerated parents, lack of part-time jobs, and failing schools, many of Chicago's young people feel that they have nowhere to turn but to the streets. From there, sports and hip-hop are two popular escape plans.
You know, there was a day, as a young brother told me, there was a day when everybody thought they were going to be Michael Jordan, so everybody wanted to play basketball. Then there was a day when everybody wanted to be a rapper, but they told me everybody's not going to be Kanye and Lupe and Common. So he said, but you know what's one thing everybody can do? Be a shooter.
In 2012, Chicago police confiscated 7,624 guns.
What's they trade? Some kids cold with the ball, some good with the mic. Pick your trade. Everybody got one. $1 million trade. Some niggas can build shit. Cars, you know. You ain't gotta kill everybody. But shit, you gotta survive though, you hear me?
Ain't nothing out here. People getting killed and selling drugs. I ain't want to be a part of that, so it was either sports or music. I picked music.
Ain't nothing else to do out here in the streets but hoop, play ball, go to school. And we pick music.
Music has historically been used as an outlet for people and their joy, their trauma, and their pain.
I feel like when Keith, when we came in and just did it, I'm talking about, bro, the whole city flipped. Like, music, everything's music, everybody a rapper now. I'm a rapper. You know, check me out, I'm a rapper. Before that, it was just, oh, street, what's up, yeah, we gonna shoot you, what's up?
If we walked across the street and we started talking to some guys, and you say, are you in a gang? They're going, no, I'm a musician.
particularly in the Chicago drill music scene, you see a lot of the traumas that people face, a lot of the anger that people hold.
It was like on the east side of Chicago, people just start saying drill everything, drill this, drill that. And we finna start drilling this, we finna do this. Once we start saying it's music, that's when people start, yo, they got just the drill music, it's drill music this, drill music that.
These are young people using music to express what they feel and what they desire.
We don't have conversations with them. We condemn them before we even learn what their story is.
These young people don't have no hope. So what they're doing is what is promoted in the media and being shown is the way to get on. And they're duplicating that in their regular lives, hoping that that's going to create the miracle that they so desire, not recognizing that it's less a chance than it is getting in the league, right? Right. The spirit of hope, opportunity, and being real, like, they don't want that. We can go to any school, we can go to any block. They don't want that. This is what they believe they have to do in order to get on. How do you change the imagery? How do you change the message? How do you begin to infiltrate the mindset, which is from the visual and the sound that we hear on an everyday basis?
Because hip-hop is guilty, is misleading the youth right now. They're making it seem like it's cool to go to jail. It's cool to sell, yeah, yo. All I know is, yeah, yo. Like, that's cool.
Hip-hop is a symptom. It's not the disease.
Yeah, it's hard to say that hip-hop is misleading the youth because hip-hop is the youth. They are misled.
For many years, there were only a handful of names associated with the Chicago hip-hop scene. Common, Twista, Kanye West, and Lupe Fiasco. Folks like Do or Die and Crucial Conflict also gained national airplay, but the city never had a moment in the spotlight like New York, Los Angeles, or Atlanta. However, a number of Chi-Town newcomers have recently made major waves in the music world.
When we came in, we ain't know that everybody was gonna do that shit. Like, say thought and all this shit and do all that. We didn't know. We was just saying it because this is what we saying.
Coming from Chicago, we just deal with a lot of adversity and we in the middle of the map. So we get everything, we like a melting pot. So you're gonna see a lot of creative shit come from up out of that.
We always been around each other. We family. We just decided we didn't want to sit around here all our life, so we started making music, try to get out the hood.
If I'm angry or something, I write a rap about my life and stuff. Write a rap, that'll make me okay.
Chicago is speaking where other people ain't talking. They talking for themselves. They giving us what's going on. If it wasn't for the rap artists personally, the whole country would not know the state of emergency that's supposed to be going on in the hoods out here. So thank God we got rappers from Chicago enlightening the whole world about what's happening because nobody else want to talk about it. Whether you popping now or not, or whether you getting the love you deserve or not, it's a growing process. But as you get into the rap game for a while, you'll see that, yo, there's more than just the hood I'm talking to now. That this is an art form. Like, this thing could be big. This thing could take me and the family out the hood. This thing could make me powerful. This thing could change the world. I think you have to allow these artists enough time to grow and develop and understand the power they have.
Like, if it wasn't for fucking YouTube, we wouldn't even be noticed.
We get to see the artists come here and grow, and then they go on and do bigger and better things.
Our music, that's another way for us. Speak what we do. We'll talk about it at the Fiesta, speak our mind. That's our best way to speak our mind.
There's a really big spotlight on Chicago right now. And the longer that spotlight is here, the more of a chance artists are going to get to shine and that they deserve, both in the music community and in the art community.
There's a lot of cool art and music coming from Chicago right now. It's like a really cool time to be an artist here.
Hip-hop is entering a social-political realm where we're changing societies. Rap music is entering a realm where you got artists running for office now to be politicians. You got artists, like, it's time for us to be philanthropists. It's time for us to heal the world through hip-hop and not just exploit our hood through rap.
We got a lot of influence on the game right now. People still don't give us our just due.
Like, the music will play a big part in the situations that's going on right now. That we got a lot of power right now. We can change. You feel me? A lot of things.
My music's my life. I know I got fans of children that listen to me and look up to me, so I don't talk about AKs and shooting people in their face or doing this and that.
Everybody in Chicago, they like to turn up. So at all times, that's
That's the music that you hear riding past. Most of the time it's our music, Stunt Taylor, people like that, Lil Dirt. Music that you can move around to. That's the type of sound that people in Chicago like.
The drill music sound gained national attention via Chief Keef's Love Sosa
These bitches love Sosa.
and I Don't Like.
That's I don't like.
Young rappers such as Keef provide an inside view of the violence taking place on the streets of Chicago. Critics accuse this young group of performers for glorifying the gang culture and the killings that have plagued Chicago.
Chicago made me who I am. I love the city. There's never been no other place like Chicago.
Music is an outlet. In that outlet, you see everything come out. We may not like it. It may not sound good. However, it's a reflection of what they are feeling and what they see. And so if we're concerned about them releasing a message that's so-called negative or violent, we need to look at where that comes from.
My music is just me speaking on what I know and what I grew up seeing and what I've been through.
We was coming up, the older cats ain't like what we was listening to.
Like I'm from over east and stuff, so a lot of people were looking for like drill stuff. The west side, they're more like that bop music, more happy sounding beats.
Bop is like sped up, happier, but still talking about the same thing we talking about in the drill music, if you really paying attention.
I mean, all the drill music is not that bad, it's just sending the wrong message.
Smoked over with the killers, but with the hitters, my niggas is drillers.
More people get killed off listening to that. People listen to the drill and they just want to go do drill. People listen to our music, they just want to go party.
Some music make you feel a certain type of way, and just off of that, you want to react a certain way. It is what it is, like they talking about their lifestyle and what they live through.
Shoot him in his face a couple times just to make sure he that fast.
And a lot of the drill music that's coming out of Chicago has that element to it. I mean, these guys are affiliated, usually if they're not in the gang, they're affiliated with guys who are. Music is a symptom or a reflection of what's going on in the street, and it always has been.
Kids are listening very close. They're reciting it almost like a mantra. Songwriters particularly, you got words, they stick in people's heads. And I hear kids all the time, I'm walking through the schools, this, whatever song they're singing, and that is a mantra. If they don't have their own mantra, they're going to sort of borrow one from an artist. There's a responsibility, however, behind that. I think the more visible you are, the more responsibility that you do have.
Now my environment and the rest of my community should see where I came from. They just came from it just like me, and they can overcome that and become just like me.
27-year-old King Louie is one of the elder statesmen of Chicago's drill scene.
Y'all know me off of success, so I'm gonna speak through the success to y'all. And I try to show people, like, if he could do it, I could do it.
One important thing is that it just shows the connection between a lot of artists from Chicago, no matter what generation you're from. It's just about the music and where we come from and just expressing that.
It could be an op though. That's what it be killing me, like. Totally opposite. Or come up to me like, yo, I'm just trying to do music, bro. I ain't with all that. I'm from woo woo, but I ain't with all that. I be like, yo, that's kind of dope though.
I smoked up with the riders, do a slab when we ride up, stay inside or get fired up, so live and die in Chicago.
These kids do what they want to do. They got to start taking responsibility for what they do themselves.
I keep that metal close.
They can't blame it on music and TV, and they can't blame it on that.
You can't blame the music on that.
Do a slab when we ride up, stay inside or get fired up, so live and die in Chicago.
I'm talking about this because this is what's going on. If I didn't talk about this, the kids couldn't, they couldn't relate. I couldn't touch them because like I ain't speaking on nothing they know about.
I got paid in Chicago, out of town getting counting perfusions with mountain, it's back to Chicago.
They ain't gonna throw it on the damn Call of Duty game. The Call of Duty game do numbers. Yeah, the best-selling game in the world, yeah. What's that promoting? I love Call of Duty, but I'm just saying, what's that promoting?
We're here today to take some responsibility that hasn't been owned up to by a lot of huge figures in this business, this creative business of making music.
You're the best generation that we ever had. You are. I want to come by and greet all of you. And then tomorrow we want to sit down and strategize.
A lot of great influencers are here to try to steer some positive messages through this music, because something has to give and the influence has to change.
We out here on the ground working, and we're going to continue to be out here on the ground working, and we're going to gather up as many molecules and atoms as we can until we cause a chain reaction and explode this thing into the kingdom of heaven.
James did a tape, and he stopped his show and told us to stop the violence at the Regal in 1983 or 84. Our babies need to know that they're killing people and that they can't replace the living. And for every child that get killed, I don't care if he's 100 or if he's 2 years old, mother hearts are aching.
Music is part of it, and I'm not one of those that say, blame all the music. But music is part of it. Music is that one thing that doesn't give you permission to get up in your spirit. You can listen to a car, you can walk down the street, you can put it in your earphone. Music does not need permission to get up in you and form you and shape you. Music is powerful. Go back in the Civil Rights Movement, music was the anthem and the passion of the movement. Dr. King used to talk about when it would get to a point where there was this great pressure and there was this great tension, he'd break out into song. He'd tell somebody, start Ain't Nobody Gonna Turn You Around, start We Shall Overcome, start Oh Freedom. Music became the thing that brought people up to give them passion to come together and fight. The music now is not the music of the movement of fight and take back. Now it's the music of the problem. It's the music of degrading women and having a gun makes me somebody. It's feeding the worst of us instead of feeding the best of us.
It's hard to police cyberspace. It's hard.
The current reality in Chicago right now is you have a lot of individuals that are instigating violence on social media, a lot of people that's actually incriminating themselves on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever the case may be.
We're in a digital era right now. This is the reality we live in. We all walk in that space right now.
Social media is just like anything when it's in the wrong hands.
Say for instance, we don't like each other, and I want to go do something to them. I could just go type their name in on Facebook, Instagram, or something, see where they at, see what they doing. We can be somewhere, somebody can be in there, snap the picture of one of us or something, telling somebody else where we at the time, then somebody can just come through and do what they want to do to us. So our head got to be up at all times, got to keep your head tight.
Right here is where my son was murdered, July 16th, 2011 at 12 o'clock noon. This is a very busy street. This is 47th and Woodlawn. It was a Saturday morning. I was at my league. His mother called me and said that my son had been shot. I rushed over and found my son laying here with a towel over his head. He had been shot in the head. And it all stemmed from a basketball game. My son was 19 years old when he was murdered. My son, maybe a month beforehand, had played a 2-on-2 basketball game with a couple other guys, and they won the game, and it morphed into Facebook, from Facebook to Twitter, from Twitter to Instagram. These kids right now, they don't have social skills, they have social media, and that's how they get their aggression out. If they had social skills and conflict resolution skills, we wouldn't have all these murders, and I wouldn't be standing here right now on the spot where my son was killed.
Sometimes, social media is the reason for the killing and people getting into it over the internet, then meeting up, seeing each other fighting, killing each other. So this is part of the violence too.
It's going back and forth, and then when they see each other, it's not just a fight. One of them has a gun.
Videos and photographs of shootings, guns, and kids throwing gang signs are widely circulated as casually as someone may share a baby picture or a new mixtape, with little regard for victims' families, as well as local law enforcement officers who monitor social media closely.
people like drama, people like excitement, you know what I'm saying? And to some people, seeing a 14-year-old with a gun and a camera, that's exciting to them.
It's been too many cases, especially over in the South Shore area, where it's just been random shootings because of kids going back and forth on Facebook.
I like to call it digital graffiti. I mean, essentially, they're not tagging walls anymore with paint. They're doing this video tagging. There's a tremendous velocity to these beefs now. Once you put it up on the internet, guys on the other side will make their own video responding to it, throwing out their threats. And more often than not, they'll carry these things out with guns. It's all playing itself out on video now. The gritty life on the streets is all online.
McDonald's, where the fuck is O-Block at, man? Where the fuck is Shorty and them at, man? Shorty and them ain't not here. On Jaja, where the fuck is Shorty and them at? Oh, he got a bump on.
This is O-Block or Wick City or 64th and King Drive. So this neighborhood on the east side of the street is called Tukaville because a kid whose nickname was Tuka got shot recently. They call this O-Block over here because a kid named Odie Perry was shot in 2011 and killed. There were 19 people who were shot, 2 of them killed on this block over 3 years. The cops have no charges in any of those shootings. They've recovered no guns. And so what that tells you is that the odds are if you shoot somebody, you're not going to get caught. So that's what makes it kind of scary out here. It's kind of gotten rougher over the years. There was a big high-rise complex that was about a mile away, and when they knocked down this place at 62nd and Calumet, all these gang members moved over here to this new place. This was in 2007, and the whole dynamic here changed. A lot of the tensions come from retaliatory shootings. A lot of it is just guys beefing on each other over girlfriends or money or whatever, but definitely there is a gang element to all of this too, that you associate with one side or the other.
You got somebody who died, you never bring this man back. But you got other people in other neighborhoods or whatever who are, oh man, that man deserved to die, and you know, they putting all this kind of stuff on the internet, man, and it's way bigger than that, man.
The war of words in the city's hip-hop community has escalated.
Louis Ball, nigga, D-Block. Hey, hurry up, he turned it. They turned it. Catch that light.
Lil JoJo released this music video online that mocked rapper Lil Reese, associated with the biggest star of the city's hip-hop scene, Chief Keef.
Reese ain't even driving, he a bitch. I'ma kill his ass.
JoJo's song 300K targeted Reese, Keef, and their 300 squad.
Boy, you a bitch, boy. Hey, Reese, you little bitch. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you, boy? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Yeah, Brick Squad, boy. What the fuck is you talking about, boy? Over you little bitch. Hey, Joe, look. Hey, I'ma kill him. Hey, Joe, I'ma kill him. We ain't for nothing.
This is zone, this is just a message. These niggas claim 300, but we BDK. BDK, yeah, bitch, we BDK. We stacking, bitch, so you know we crackin' trade. Crackin' trade, yeah, bitch, we crackin' trade. BDK.
The victim, 18-year-old Joseph Coleman, known as Lil JoJo, he was shot by a drive-by shooter in Inglewood.
These niggas claim 300.
Keith responded to JoJo's death on Twitter. He made light of it and wrote he was laughing. Police are reportedly investigating a connection between his comments and the death.
This was just one example of how Twitter has played a role in the street beefs and helped to keep tensions between warring groups high.
The kids that get on Facebook, they laugh about it as if it was, you know, funny to them. They degrade the family. It's really awful.
You know, cyberbullying is real, it's out there. We have to play an example for the kids out there and educate them and talk to these kids and let them know what's right and wrong.
It's a real big problem. Parents really need to monitor their kids a whole lot more.
All I need, money and guns.
I don't necessarily see it to be a positive thing as far as the aspect of the community.
We shoot it out with you.
You see a lot of negative things on there as far as, you know, like gang banging and things of that nature. That's how people kind of use it as their outlet to, I guess, get across to whoever they're trying to get across to.
I know we get money, man.
I think it's a method by which the police can actually use to, you know, identify certain people that are at risk for having, you know, certain behaviors, or certain people that are in gangs, because unfortunately via Facebook, people are very vocal, you know, and they share their intent.
Lay niggas down, nigga. Shot-town shit, nigga. Y'all know what the fuck it is, nigga. Don't get it twisted out here, man. Nigga, lay you bitch ass niggas down, nigga. Where the other move at, nigga?
The connection between online bullying with offline violence cannot be ignored.
You feel me, nigga? These niggas ain't no shit, nigga. Shot-town status, nigga. Get your weight up, nigga. It's nothing, nigga. Real talk, what's good, nigga? What's good, nigga? That shit, nigga.
Despite the pain that often fills the streets of Chicago, there's also a lot of partying, especially when someone is throwing a fifi. The term, which originated on the city's west side, refers to a large outdoor party where everyone comes out to show off their cars, jewels, and dance moves.
A fifi is an unauthorized block party. Between the times of like midnight to like 3, 4 in the morning.
Cars gonna keep coming through. Then this right here, this is our way we party outside. We ain't got nowhere to go inside, we do it outside. It's a fiesta, it's a fifi. This bitch gonna be swag. See, man, that's what this do.
Picture our block filled with a lot of people. A whole lot of people on the block, and it's filled with music, loud noise. And everybody dance, this and that, every car playing a song.
Everybody be in the street, party and listen to music. It really be turned up, like a lot of fans come through, take pictures with us, speak to us, a lot of stuff like that.
Sometimes it be for birthdays, sometimes it be just because it's Friday. That's when everybody bring their cars out, they everything, they jewelry, they best outfits, and everybody just have fun and try to not do nothing violent and just keep the peace. Everybody just get together and just turn up.
Most likely, if your fifi rock it, then the block gonna be full of people, and y'all gonna be turned up like all night till the police come. But the police come at night and they shut it down.
Hey, we're in Chicago, not California, motherfucker.
No stopping, no video.
Hey, we moving down the street. Everybody out of the street.
It's a West Side lifestyle. The South Side's starting to do it now, but it originated from out California. It'd just be people from each block from out west on that one block. It'd be like thousands of people out there sometimes. It'd be crazy.
Out west, we turn up, we have fun. And our music, that's what we speaking to. Our turn up music, that's how we have fun. It's like a party thing. That's what we like to do.
You know, and I made the song and I explained what it was, you know. It's just a party outside.
All my life I'm getting guap. All these bitches on my cock. Riding around in foreign drops. I threw that fifi on the block.
Bad stuff do happen sometimes, you know. But other than that, it be fun though.
And I thought these to the fifi on the block. All my life I'm getting guap. All these bitches on my cock. Riding around in foreign drops. I threw that fifi on the block.
The kids, they light up when they hear Sicko Mob or Stunt Taylor. They go crazy, or D-Lo or Chemo, because we the people who we turn Chicago around with the music.
Dancing is an integral part of the street culture. It is both an outlet for creative self-expression and a possible path to leaving the street.
I got started dancing when I was little, about 8, 9.
I used to just watch Michael Jackson, watch MC Hammer, you know, all the greats. It motivated me to want to do something like them, be an icon, be a legend, somebody people can look up to. I just decided to do it. I always talked about it. I always said I wanted to do it. I just did it. Came up with the D-Lo Shuffle, put it out just to build a foundation around the empire that I'm trying to make.
You can do it. Be determined, loyal, optimistic, willing to learn, and you will be great.
In Chicago, I always came up with creative dances. We the creator a lot of dances, footwork, and dance is the life in Chicago. It keeps a lot of people going, like me myself.
It's a lifestyle, like, you know what I'm saying, dancing. Like, the West Side been more of dancing anyway, like all the dance teams we had back in high school and stuff like that.
Dating as far back as the 80s, footwork is a dance that originated on the house music scene and incorporates fast foot movement with pop locking and often involves battling other dancers.
Me and Zay over there, my big cousin, we boppers.
That's a dance from the West Side. I'm from the East Side. We don't do that around my side of town, man. We don't dance.
Bop music, which incorporates elements of drill and house music, features similar themes to drill, but over lighter, up-tempo beats and auto-tune vocals. The boppers dancing along are as integral to the bop movement as the music.
It's a dance that everybody do in Chicago by my brother's song and all that, but everybody like bop music.
Okay, the bop dance, it started on the West Side, and it kind of moved a little everywhere with the kids, man. That's big with the kids.
I want to follow my dream, to make it in life, to be a bopper.
I'll say when I was young, around by like the age of 10, I started out footworking. It's a dance called Chicago Footwork. For me to teach these kids this dance and show them it's a different way to go, I feel like that's the best feeling in the world for me. To see these kids still out here doing this dance that they see me do off YouTube, and to the point where it's like in their blood now, because mostly any kid that you can call right now from out these streets, they gonna do that dance, and they gonna do it like to the point where they feel like they probably did it for like 3 years. It's like a dance that's gonna be here for like many generations. That's what I feel like. Bopping, I want to take it to a whole nother level. I want to teach everybody. I want to teach everybody to dance.
Man, to get a kid something to do, man. I got a neighbor that used to live upstairs from me. He used to be on my front porch just dancing and stuff, right? So my brother had called him downstairs and we had put him on Instagram and shit. He was doing his dance.
Ain't nothing out here to do for the shorties. That's why when the bopping came out, they doing it. We need to do more to make the community turn up.
Now you got little kids making dance groups now. Now you got grown-ups dancing with the kids. You know, everybody getting involved together. And I think that's the biggest effect that it has on the neighborhood and our community now. Is this, it gives us something to do other than what we known for doing.
I didn't have a dad in the house. And I was angry about it, even though I didn't necessarily realize it at the time. I made bad choices. I didn't always take school as seriously as I should have. I made excuses. Sometimes I sold myself short.
Single parents, good parents, no parents. So often the fate of Chicago's young people is dictated by the efforts of the adults who are raising them.
I always feel that it starts at home. I come from a single parent home. I come from the projects, and I always think about what was the difference for me, and it's always been my mom. She was dedicated to me and my sister. She laid a great, great foundation. If we got more parents to take a bigger role in their children's life so we can teach them about violence, teach them about poverty, teach them about the importance of an education. And I'm not just talking about an academic education, I'm talking about socially and emotionally. I really do think it will make a difference because it needs to be well-grounded.
For education leads to less opportunities leads to more hopelessness. That's the recipe for violence.
I ain't really have a father figure, somebody that I can look up to So I always turned to my friends, like what they was doing, I wanted to do, because them was the ones that was around me, older than me, pushing me, motivating me. All the kids need these days right now is somebody that's gonna take a stand, somebody that's gonna lead them in the right direction, somebody that's gonna teach them the right things.
When we were younger, if a leader was identified, he was nurtured at that point. He's a leader, let's make sure we get him to school safely. Let's make sure he stays in school. Let's make sure he doesn't do drugs. Let's make sure he doesn't do that. We don't have that anymore.
I used to always look up to one person, and every time I seen them do good, it just made me like, man, I gotta do good too.
I'm successful for my shorties that come up under me, and you know what I'm saying, I cover, keep them on that straight path.
When your mom's is at work or she working overtime and it's like 3 or 4 y'all in the crib, y'all raising each other, or the outside influence is raising you.
A lot of these parents don't raise their kids. They letting music raise their kids. They letting TV raise their kids instead of raising their kids.
In your parenting, talking like this ain't never raised nobody up. But reaching down to their level and bringing them up slowly but surely and letting them know you care, but letting them know that reality is nothing to play with, that right there is the best parenting that I think it is.
There is a lot of talk about how anyone can succeed by doing things the right way. But when your community glorifies negative, dangerous behavior, is that really the case?
You can't look at big homie to guide you in the right direction, because a lot of these big homies is opportunists. They're using the youth that's generation up under us.
And a lot of times, man, manipulation came into play.
A lot of the older guys nowadays, they take advantage of the shorties. They say, okay, I'm gonna get my shorty to do this to you. I'm gonna get my shorty this and have him go sell it for me. And it's just like, damn, you done ruined this kid's life before he had an opportunity to live.
You probably think you're teaching them the right thing, but due to the fact that you've been misled, now you misleading.
If we're not gonna guide them in the right direction, they gonna find a way for themselves.
You know, you're dealing with a lot of other influences, especially you talking about neighborhoods that we come from. You're dealing with a lot of negative energy, and you gotta be first open-minded to be receptive to a person, to actually talk and sit down and not be confrontational. And it has a lot to do with your energy.
Ceasefire is an evidence-informed health approach, scientifically proven to reduce violence, namely shootings and homicides. 17 now in the city of Chicago, 6 outside of the city of Chicago, a number of different programs across the nation, and about 8 different programs internationally. What we do basically is employ credible messengers, brothers that's born and bred from the communities in which we work in, to actually go out, identify high-risk situations, high-risk individuals, work with them to actually interrupt the conflicts and actually help change behaviors and norms.
This is the life I live, this is where I grew up at, this is how I live, and through the grace of God I've been transformed to be able to go out there and to be an instrument and a vessel of stopping the violence. But you have to meet them where they at.
The main role is to stop a shooting before it actually occurs. If a violent incident was to occur, they're trying to prevent the retaliation.
You turn that negativity into positive and you let them know that you was victimized the same way they was. I lost my little cousin right there at that street light right there. So I understand what they feel. So what I did was I took a pledge and stepped out, and I went to his funeral. And I stepped up and I told him, I don't never want to see another family go through what I'm going through. And I picked his 3-year-old daughter up and said, you could go avenge him and kill 50,000 people, but she's gonna need 50,000 to make it through college, to make it through life, and she's gonna need the ones that's his friends to step up and do what he's not able to do now.
You have to address violence from multiple angles, which means there's multiple roles to be played. There's a role for education, there's a role for employment, there's a lot of different roles. If you're serious about stopping shootings and killings in any given community, you have to have the capacity to work with those shooters in those communities.
Aisha Jaco serves as the director of the Lupe Fiasco Foundation, which she and her brother founded in 2009. The organization focuses on food justice, art education, and empowering the youth leadership.
Lupe and I grew up together. We're brother and sister, and our parents were very much into the struggle. Our father was a Black Panther. He opened up karate schools in the most impoverished neighborhoods in Chicago. So growing up, we always had the knowledge of giving back to our community. We grew up on the west side, on Madison and Albany, and over a 10-year period, our older brother saw 20 of his friends murdered. So we had that duality. We had the right way, but at any time, we could walk out the door and make a choice to participate in some of those elements that were in our environment. But because we had that framework and foundation, We chose to make the world a better place through our art and through our philanthropy.
As shrinking budgets often cost Chicago's kids the opportunity to take art classes at school, Donda's House expands access to art education, allowing kids to study the science of hip-hop.
Basically, Donda's House was started or founded by myself and Kanye West, who felt like young people needed an opportunity to be trained in the art. You know, never before has there been a place where artists could come and be trained by artists who are already in the industry. What we find is that music and art is one thing that unites everybody. And that's what Kanye West's mom, Dr. Donda West, that's what she did for us. Me, Kanye, Mickey Halstead, GLC, a host of artists from Chicago that would all meet at Donda's house, at Kanye's mom's house. And she would ask us when we were rapping, are you really shooting people? You really selling drugs? You really got all the women? Well, no, we just trying to be hot. No, tell your story. Are you comfortable with making it, telling a lie about yourself? And when we said no, that was what created what you see Kanye is doing. You know what I'm saying? And so artists need that freedom to be themselves.
What brothers are missing out on, they don't know how to drive to see it. You know, they don't know that it's possible. Like with me, I grew up in Cabrini Green, which it was 7-8 blocks from Magnificent Mile, downtown Chicago. So I had that privilege. I could walk out my slum, and I would walk a couple blocks down, and I would mingle with the white rich folks, and so on and so forth. And it just exposed me to a different life, and I wanted better things, and I wanted to go see these places. And most people from the South Side never been downtown. You know, the younger brothers. You know, and it's just not something popular to do. You know, you could shoot dice, and you could drive a Chevy. You know, why go downtown?
On behalf of myself, my teammates, USA Basketball, and Brazil, we want to thank you all for coming out. And I personally want to thank USA Basketball for hosting this great event in this great city, because here, what's going on here is bigger than basketball. You got kids that's losing their life, and I hope that everybody recognizes it, and this is huge for the city. So thank you to your whole USA staff. Thank you.
We've been having a summer league here in Chicago. You get 300, 400, 500 kids off the street at peak crime hours, and being able to put everybody in one unit. Friendships and relationships are built through here. Basketball's been an outlet to get a lot of guys opportunities to go to college that probably would have never had the opportunity to go to college. People don't understand what basketball does, especially for Chicago. It gives us a chance to get off the street, but also a chance for us to get education as well. I think all of us collectively can just tell kids it's just other ways that you can do things through basketball, obviously through music, and through filmmaking. There's just so many different ways that you can be successful in life.
Derrick Roses of the world get to the NBA, but how many of them are there?
Daily news reports of shooting deaths on the city's south and west sides have become far too familiar for residents who struggle to understand how death has become a way of life in the Windy City.
Unfortunately, what the media has a tendency to do is exaggerate everything.
The numbers don't lie. People are getting killed, but they're not saying nothing about all the good stuff.
What you don't see every single day are the people who are fighting on the front lines to have quality schools, to have job creation and quality social services.
So the public face that they have for young black males is a thug, somebody who potentially is a perpetuator of violence, a pistol toter, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, in these same demographics, we got lawyers, we got doctors, we got all of these different people that still emerge from this same area.
I challenge you to tell me the last time you saw 10 minutes of good news and a half hour of news in any city.
A kid, by the time they're 18 years old, is going to have seen 60,000 acts of violence on the television and upwards of 200,000 simulated acts of violence on television. And the influence can change people.
It feeds into this idea that there's something wrong with particularly black folks and even brown folks in the city, given the violence that people hear about in the media. It blames the individual without looking at the structural factors that contribute to what's happening in Chicago.
This is not just a gun issue. It's also an issue of the kinds of communities that we're building. And for that, we all share responsibility as citizens to fix it. These are difficult challenges. No solution we offer will be perfect, but perfection has never been our goal. Our goal has been to try and make whatever difference we can. Neighborhood by neighborhood, one block by one block, one family at a time. Because in America, your destiny shouldn't be determined by where you live, where you were born. It should be determined by how big you're willing to dream, how much effort and sweat and tears you're willing to put in to realizing that dream. If we make that effort, then I'm confident. I'm confident that we will write the next great chapter in our American story. I'm not going to be able to do it by myself, though. Nobody can. We're going to have to do it together. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
The questions about Chicago's future remain. What are the solutions? What can be done to encourage the young people of Chicago? How do we fix the schools, and how do we make kids care about school in the first place? How do we discourage young men from hustling and robbing one another when jobs are hard to find and good jobs even harder? Who forces gang members to value their own lives and the lives of the people around them enough to put down the guns? And most importantly, how do you teach people to love themselves in a world that seems to hate them?
I love my family, and I know they love me.
You really got to believe in yourself first. It ain't that they could be somebody, that they are somebody.
Solution starts right here with the people of Chicago.
If you work hard at anything you do, you can achieve something.
I'm from the other side of town, out of bounds. To anybody who don't live around,
we all came together and did what we had to do.
I never learned to share,
to survive and all that.
Or how to care.
Kids are angry. The city's angry.
I never had no teachings about being fair.
I don't know what else to say.
Either you have a little sense or you have none.
What they need to do is have social skills.
And we got to stick together as brothers. We got to stop killing each other.
They need to be able to get along and have conflict resolution.
We got to be bigger men and say, you know what, enough of us has lost our lives already.
If we actually all start lending a hand and trying to lift each other up and build each other up, I feel like we can see great results from that.
On the other side of town.
Now it's time to grow up as black men, as kings, to really make something out of ourselves, to really change the neighborhood for the next generations, so that they don't have to grow up in this.
We need a whole group of people to move in one direction, be on the same page, to stop this madness.
And as long as we accepting this as our life and we really embracing this and glorifying it, we'll never get out of it.
That's part of the solution, is to change my way of thinking, my process of thinking. If I think a certain way, I'm going to act a certain way.
You can't change what you're doing until you change what you're thinking.
You can't figure nothing out till you figure you out.
You know yourself, then you know others, and you ain't really worried about trying to take somebody else out because you got love for yourself.
We have to get educated first. Knowledge is power. Without knowledge, you have nothing.
I'm talking about socially and emotionally and academically. It needs to be well-rounded.
I deal with the youth and the elderly because I combine them. Because the elderly can tell the youth how to have character.
The kids just need hope, faith, inspiration, and I'm trying to be that for them right now.
And it ain't cool like to be like looking over your shoulder from doing like illegal stuff all the time. It feel good to like make legal money and, you know what I'm saying, live comfortable.
You hear somebody talking to me, they say, oh, that's old school. It's better than no school.
There was more programming that young kids could see the direction that they want to go in. There's really nothing out there except for things that are showing them what they don't want to do. We need programming to show kids what they should be doing, what the possibilities are. I did a cake for a Gates Scholar. That was absolutely amazing, but nobody's going to talk about him. So if nobody talks about him, then the kid that's on the corner doing the things that other people don't appreciate don't get to know, hey dude, you could be a Gates Scholar. And I'd like to see more people share what they know. And everyone has these stories, we just don't tell them. We tell the stories that the news tells.
Just looking at my little brothers and sisters every day, I just don't want them to be in that environment. I want them to have like a positive outlet. This is a different road you can take. This is a different way you can make money. Just trying to like instill that mindset into my younger siblings is something that really helped me out. It may be just that one person you see every day walking to the store. Just forming unique mutual bonds like that definitely played a role into me getting out of that violent infected community.
Revolt is committed to making sure that the stories of violence and tragedy are not the stories that define Chicago, a city that is dynamic, diverse, and resilient. Despite its challenges, Chicago is still a global hub for culture, and the city's youngest residents deserve to see that positivity when and wherever they can. This is love. Chicago love.
Back to the same old place.